for the cold open, I guess we should discuss our ex-girlfriend trying to get back with us by being real cool and being like, yeah, we'll get rid of Velveteen Dream and we'll get rid of Jake Younger. It's like, yeah, but we do still know you've got that Saudi Arabia deal. No, I told you, baby, I can quit. I can quit them. No, you can't. It's $1 million.
I can change.
I can change. Shut up, Vince. Get back in the box.
Hey, listen. You can fix me. You're fucking ready for that. You can fix me.
I can change. I can change for you boys. Welcome to Fight Boys, a show about professional and not so professional wrestling. And this week, we're doing it for the ladies. Scotty Moore.
That's right. It's ladies' night. We're gonna da. I'm Blake Tanner. I'm sorry.
And I am a fan of the femme fatale, the Dylan.
I was afraid of saying it because it sounded creepy, but I knew Blake would say something that doubled down on the weird shit I said, so I would be fine. I appreciate you taking the bullet.
That's such a weird gamble to take on this show, is saying something weird and then hoping Blake will out-weird you to balance it out. Is that your plan whenever you come here for, like, the theme parks? Like, you're just gonna act like a total weirdo and hope Blake outdoes you?
Usually works.
It ain't failed yet, baby. It's 100% success rate.
He did wear a tropical themed captain's hat in a cigar bar in Las Vegas. You're right. Yep. You got a point.
Oh yeah. Because actually after changing out of his normal white captain's hat into a tropical themed captain's hat because it was now time to party, so he had to adjust what hat he had.
Now, to be fair, you gave me that tropical captain's hat as a gift.
I did. I thought it would be an important moment of our friendship. This week, ladies and gentlemen, we're returning to the mountains, except this time, it's not Mount Rushmore, it's not Mount Dudemore, it's about Ladymore, because we're going to be breaking down our... Yeah, I know it was bad, Dylan. You don't have to say anything.
Do you want me to sing Ladies' Night again? I'm sorry.
Please don't sing Ladies. Listen, I know it's a podcast about like the best female professional wrestlers, but like, please don't make it weird. Please, I need you to not be Twitter. Can you just not be Twitter for 5 minutes?
I've not tweeted in 4 years, so yeah.
You can not tweet and still be Twitter.
Yeah. Ah, shit, that means I have to cut out our whole opening segment about Tony Storm wearing pants now. I was gonna just have a whole diatribe on it.
Scotty, get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. What are we doing?
We are making our Mount Rushmores of the greatest female wrestling talent the world has to offer. Each of us kind of went through, decided who's had the biggest influence on us. I mean, back when you looked at the men's ones, you saw... Like, I had CM Punk, the guy who really got me into wrestling. Shawn Michaels, the guy who brought me back into wrestling. Like, things like that, but for women's wrestling, which I feel like it almost feels like a second echelon to break. Because you get into wrestling, and then it's very much like, okay, I like the dudes, but the women wrestling, I don't know if it's about, that's what I'm about. And then you break through into, oh wait, women's wrestling equally fucking rules. And that's kind of what I break down today is, who did that for you?
Yeah, it's because of like the amount of wrestling just involving men is usually just so much more than women's wrestling, so it's easy for them to be obscured. So we gotta give some people a spotlight.
Yeah, and right now I would like to start off by just acknowledging all of the 4 horsewomen. Because I was like, we can't pick all of them. Each of us get one. But I still remember the NXT takeover where I think it was the fatal 4-way of all 4 of them. Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, Sasha, and me going like, it's the women's match. It's going to be whatever. I'll sit here, play on my phone while this happens. And within 5 minutes, the phone was like on the ground, buried. And so I was like, no, shut the fuck up. This is amazing. And I it's been stated enough, I think, how much the Four Horsewomen have done for wrestling, but even still, like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. And we're not gonna think about their debuts to the WWE main roster. That was the rough part.
I thought it was all right. There was.
Do you remember the submission sorority?
There was a submission sorority.
Do you remember when that somehow got? And Paige even went up to them. They were like, "You guys know this is a porn site, right?" They're like, "Yeah." And they're like, all right.
Well,
also,
now,
you're gonna find a lot of that in wrestling because wrestling sucked for a long time.
yeah. Now you're Panama City Beach, though. Now we've changed your name, PCV, baby. All right, let's start off. Since we've already started, would we like to start with each of our horsewomen picks?
Absolutely. I was hoping we'd go down that road because we got 3 horsewomen to get through.
Yeah.
And Charlotte, she's there.
I feel so bad, but I don't.
I don't. No.
It's understandable because it's nothing against her as a person. It's just, it's the Roman virus, and the Cena virus before.
It's the Coroman virus.
It's not even that. It's that, like, of the 4 of them, like, her accomplishments feel the cheapest.
Her in-ring work is amazing. Like, she's very good in-ring, but I mean, like, technically. But when it comes to telling a story and having the visuals and the emotion behind it, I feel like she's the weakest of the 4 horsewomen as far as, like, emotional resonance.
Do you remember the Kabuki Warriors ladder match?
Where she killed people? Yeah.
She tried to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's just all Dylan needs to say for him to be like, and that's why we're done talking about Charlotte. I feel like Dylan's got the best horsewoman of all of us, and would you like to start with your first on your Mount Rushmore?
You mean the one that we were actively upset about? Because you picked first?
Actually, speaking of that Fatal 4-Way, this, my 4 Horsemen was the match after that, which was, I believe, Sasha's first defense of the NXT Championship. On a takeover where it was her against Becky Lynch. And up to that point, Becky had just been Sasha's, like, henchwoman.
Yeah.
Kind of. And then she came out and, like, she had the song and, like, a great match. And I have to admit, I am still a fan of her original look. Of that era. Like, that's still my favorite. Before she went, like, super bright with the hair, she had, like, the dark red hair and, like, the, like, almost, like
steampunk.
Before she went steampunk and she was just like some kind of like almost like Irish like punk rock.
Yeah. It fucking ruled.
Yeah, it matched her song great, but that match I remember was just amazing and I was pulling for her the whole time. And like I remember afterwards everybody like chanted her song like in appreciation. After that I was like, cool, I have a female wrestler to root for because it had been a while.
Yeah.
I remember watching that match, too, because that was when I would rabidly watch every takeover live, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a standout, because I remember, like, Becky not having much to do, and that was the thing that essentially boosted her up to where she rightfully belonged in the 4 Horsewomen.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just a series of, it was a series of pain, really, for a number of years.
It was just disappointment after... Even when she won titles, it was... Oh, this ain't gonna last long, is it?
Well, no, when she was the inaugural SmackDown champion, I thought, okay, this is it, this is good. And then when they, like, jobbed her out to fucking Alexa Bliss... Because there was a while where I disliked Alexa Bliss more than I dislike Charlotte, which is rare, because most of the time I dislike Charlotte the most out of all wrestlers. And
I will say, and I know this is about Becky, but Alexa, honestly, despite all of the odds, really came into her own quickly, because she was in a sea of everyone talking about horsewomen this, horsewomen that. But Alexa came the fuck through, and like, when she was champion, it felt earned in a weird way. Like, it felt like you deserve this, unlike Charlotte, where it's like, you're here because they don't have anyone else they want to be here.
Well, a couple of times it felt earned. A couple of times. Whatever. We're here to celebrate people, not to drag people down. But yeah, And eventually, like, we were just like, okay, maybe this is it. And then she turned quote unquote heel, and she
heel in heavy air quotes.
In heavy air quotes. WWE tried to tell the fans, you should boo Becky Lynch. And they didn't. And then she came out and insulted them. And still they cheered for her.
They agreed.
They agreed. You're right, we do suck. That's literally what happened. And then she's just started invading shit. Then there was the great shot of her with the bloody nose. And it's been all main events and paydays ever since.
I feel like if you want to get like a close parallel in women's wrestling to the Daniel Bryan story, it's Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I could see that, definitely. And it is very rare that you look at the WWE roster and say, who's the top person? And it be a female. It's always top guy, it's Roman Reigns, it's John Cena, it's Brock Lesnar, it's whatever. During that time, Becky Lynch was number one with a bullet. If you turned on Raw, that's the person. That is literally the man. That is the one everyone's here to see.
That is the bad bitch.
Well, before we get into
that's why she's my favorite of the.
Well, my pick.
We dreamboarded her, Blake. We dreamboarded it into reality.
We did.
Remember all those years?
We died on so many hills
where we joked about it, and then it finally came true.
We put so much power into it that she became like one of the first ever female cover stars for a WWE game. Like, hard in the paint. Well, my horsewoman pick is, at first seemed like, I get stuck with this person. Then I remember this person made me probably feel the most out of any of the horsewomen. And it's fucking Bayley. Because Bayley's initial gimmick of just being like this plucky super fan who just kind of wanted to go out and live her dream was astounding. It was such a great gimmick. When she finally won, it felt like the world had won. I could not listen to her theme music without smiling. She was a violent, like, shot of positivity in the world of professional wrestling, and I loved that. Like, she'd come out, hug everybody, even the weird ones. She would put on amazing shows. She would fight, like, people like Nia Jax, and you'd say, oh, there's no way she's getting out of this one. And then she'd choke out a bitch, because Bayley don't care. And then I remember...
Is Bayley gonna have to come and choke a bitch?
And she will.
Is Bayley Two Belts gonna have to choke a bitch?
No. Bayley dose straps.
That's right. But then she came to the main roster, and then there was a very long floundering period. I'd argue a longer floundering period than Becky had, because Bayley at least like won it and then immediately got the shit kicked out of her by Alexa with a kendo stick.
Do you remember the "This Is Your Life" segment?
I tried not to, but then they finally did it. The Mad Lads did it and turned the most beloved babyface in WWE history into a heel, and she nailed it. Like, I remember her talking about what would happen if she ever turned heel. She was like, I kind of want to be like a cool stone cold ass kicker, and she quickly realized, like, that's not gonna work for me. Instead, I'm gonna go full Karen, and I'm just gonna be annoying as shit, and it works so well. She is still one of the funniest parts of any episode of SmackDown, but still she seems like a legitimate contender, like after Bianca won the title.
Scotty. Ding dong, hello.
Now, look, it's a stupid catchphrase, and I feel like that's why it works. I feel like that's why it works for her. But yeah, she's a great heel and a great babyface. She knows how to get under the audience's, like, skin as a heel, or get under there, realize what makes them happy, and give that back to them as a babyface. Apparently, WWE doesn't know what to do with a babyface that's that good, other than beat the shit out of them with kendo sticks. But yeah, Bayley fucking rules. I love Bayley to death. Like, I still remember going to live shows and waiting for her to come out and, like, smiling ear to ear when her theme music hit. Oh, fuck, do you remember? Oh, shit. The Finn Balor saga? where Finn was champ and she was champ, and like Finn would come out in a Bayley jacket and do the Bayley entrance, and she would do the Balor entrance. Fucking ruled. It was so good. That was a special time for NXT, I think. Like, that was right when it was getting its wings.
That was when NXT was like understood their audience so well, like as in the arena and out, that they just knew how to play to them.
Yeah.
And Bayley is very good at playing to an audience, whether she be face or heel. Like, she's got something in her where it's like, you want to love her, or she cuts her hair a certain way and you hate her.
Or she shaves Michael Cole's head or his name into the back of her head and doesn't realize that he's not going to be out there for her match.
Yeah.
All right, Blake, bring it home.
Here we go. And I appreciate you for not mentioning some of these matches I'm going to mention in the Bayley saga, because Bayley in my pick, it's Sasha Banks, of course, the boss.
Last week we went through the best of the best matches, most quality matches of all time. I think the only females in matches there, which sucks that there's not more prevalent female matches to pull from, but the only one was Sasha Bayley's Iron Man match.
And that speaks to my point of why Sasha Banks is great, is because she is top to bottom one of the best fucking heels you can put up against anybody. Anybody she goes up against, she can play heel to them. And she can make you A, root for the babyface, and B, just be cool enough in her style or her actions or even the way she walks down the ring to be like, I still respect that.
And you can tell how much she cares about professional wrestling. Like, one of my favorite shots from WrestleMania, which, by the way, first ever African-American woman alongside Bianca to main event WrestleMania. Big fucking deal. But my favorite shot from that Mania is still after Bianca had won and Sasha's on the outside trying to sell the injuries. And you just see her look up, see Bianca holding the belt, and she can't help but just smile because she's so proud of what she's done. I don't think anyone's ever cared about pro wrestling more than Sasha Banks.
She cares so much about professional wrestling, and also she's a damn good wrestler too.
She will also risk her entire body on every bump, and no one has asked her to. She has. There are so many times. I remember early in her career where everyone was like, I don't think she's gonna make it, man. Like, that woman's like 110 pounds and she is taking Kota Ibushi bumps, and that's not how people should be doing this at all.
What, Sasha, what's the spot for tonight? Oh, I'm gonna run and meteora you into a pit of lava. Sasha, that's not gonna work. No, I'm gonna take it. It's okay. I'm gonna do it.
Don't worry about it. And also,
you don't have to go in the lava. Only me. Only me. Lava.
I'll go in the lava. Don't worry. I'll be fine. Because I'm the boss. And also, her selling is up there in the echelons of Dolph Ziggler level at his peak.
Oh, yeah. Dolph
it's like Dolph RVD levels. It really...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She drops like the deck and flops like a fish.
Oh my god.
But no, like she is a complete package as far as I'm concerned, and she is and will be remembered as one of the best women's wrestlers, and like along with the other four horsewomen who mainstreamed women's wrestling in our era.
Yeah. Well, talking about people who made something mainstream, my second pick for my Rushmore is a woman who kind of brought intergender wrestling along with another one of my women on my Mount Rushmore really to the forefront, and it's Candice fucking LeRae, and that is her legal middle name at this point. Because, yes, she's done great things in NXT. I'm furious she still hasn't held the main belt. She's now getting a fun tag run with Indy Hartwell. It's fun seeing Candice and Johnny, both of these people who are adorable, amazing baby faces a lot like Bayley, and it's like, I don't know if they can be a heel. No, they can. They can, and they're gonna rule.
See, listen. Candice LeRae learned from one of the greatest heels of all time, Super Dragon, which is why she took 2 of his moves, the Violence Party and the freaking Stomp, and decided that she was going to use them. You need to understand, the moment I saw that she used that move, where she just picks them up and just bam, right into the face, I was like, they're letting her get away with that? Oh, that's the finisher. That's the mega finisher. You do that on a chair, that's how you shelf people when they need time off.
And like I said, actually, you know what? Last week there was another woman mentioned, and it was Candice, and that time she heroically defeated the Young Bucks all beside herself to win the PWG
Besides herself. She cloned herself. It was the team of Candice LeRae's versus the Young Bucks.
Yeah. And you're talking about that Becky image of her bleeding looking iconic. Candice at the end of that match after getting super kicked by a shoe with thumbtacks attached to the bottom and just pouring blood but holding those belts, like, that makes you feel something, man. That makes you feel like, yeah, she worked for this shit. And I know some people are like, intergender wrestling, I don't like this. Like, no, firstly, fuck off, it's a fake show. If you're cool with Rey Mysterio versus The Big Show, Candice LeRae can certainly fight the Young Bucks. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, did you actually think in a real fight that somebody like Eddie Guerrero could beat Brock Lesnar? No, he lied and he cheated.
He lied, he cheated, he stealed it.
He stealed, and he won it.
Yeah, and with me, like, Candice brought it to the forefront, and I feel like that is also why she's a little bit more prominent in my mind, maybe because, like, she was part of intergender wrestling, which means that she kind of... I'm not that familiar with a lot of female talents out on the independent scene, so I know like Alley Cat and a lot of them, and I love them, but I think the beauty of intergender wrestling is it sucks to say, but in a lot of cases, the dudes' names usually hold a little bit more value, and being able to do intergender wrestling is going to elevate all the talent, which fucking rules, because now you could have like a up-and-coming female talent who rocks that many people may not have paid attention to, get people to pay attention to them. Like someone who I have next on my Mount Rushmore fought people like Kingston and fought people like El Generico. And like, that's how you build talent, is have them go against established names. So now when I see people fighting Candice LeRae, I'm now trying to see, oh, this person must be great because they're going against Candice LeRae.
Yeah, and I think that one of the most notable names that I remember from watching early indie wrestling, like in regards to women's wrestling, was Candice LeRae, because of those intergender matches, and because like after that match with the Young Bucks, she was just a fucking legend.
And you know what's great about it is the fact that she did intergender matches, but didn't have to do spots where she like grabbed people by their boobs and like suplexed them by them. Like, yeah, no, nothing weird like that.
But she instead grabbed them by their balls.
By their balls, the ballplex.
The ballplex? Yeah, that was a move. I don't know if you remember that.
It was something that she made famous.
She made famous, and no one else did it. In a way, though, it is a real brutal fucking move. Just imagine getting squeezed by your nuts and then dropped on your fucking neck. It's great.
Yeah, that's horrifying, but great.
You remember when she put thumbtacks down Matt Jackson's
oh yeah,
pants and then did it? Yeah. I'm sure that was a great ride home.
All right. What you boys got next?
So
go on, Dylan.
All right. So we have left Western wrestling and are now going to focus solely on nothing but the WWE Joshi wrestlers. Congratulations.
Good. I'll make my next one a Japanese wrestler.
Oh, okay. You have one too? Crap. I hope we didn't take the same ones.
I have two. We probably did.
We probably did? All right. I can pivot. Well, I'll just take my favorite one and then we'll go from there. Once Becky went up to the main roster, I was still watching NXT, and like there was this thing where they brought, at one of the takeovers, there was just this woman in the front row with like two-tone hair. This Japanese woman that I never heard of. And they named her Asuka, which literally is just Japanese for tomorrow. Her name is just Tomorrow. And,
well, she's the Empress of Tomorrow. It makes sense.
Right. It's not that clever when you know that her name is just Tomorrow. Then it just sounds lazy. But CFO gave her the most kick-ass theme song ever. And then she decided that her entire gimmick was to just have nothing but like an eclectic ring gear and just kick people's faces in. It was like...
Fuck them up.
It was like Ring of Honor Daniel Bryan. Like people were basically yelling, "You're gonna get your fucking head kicked in" during Asuka matches.
Asuka's gonna kill you.
Yeah, and they meant it. And and then she beat Bayley, which I saw coming and was excited about. It's the only time I've rooted against Bayley heavily. The 2 times that I've rooted against Bayley, I looked at her. I was like, I hope you get your arm not snapped, in storyline snapped. But
you know what?
Yeah.
Sasha Banks may have made a child cry for the storyline. Asuka will make them cry for real.
Yeah. And she went undefeated. She was never defeated. Granted, she left due to injury. It is debatable that Ember Moon should have been the one to end that streak. Instead, they sacrificed it to... You know, we're not even going to talk about her anymore. Anyway.
I forgot about that.
Anyway, Asuka has gone on to have the most, like, she's done literally everything. Actually, no. She could go to UK and win the NXT UK Women's Championship. That's literally the only mountain left, other than main eventing
yeah,
WrestleMania.
because she's won Money in the Bank.
She
won the
Money in the Bank.
Rumble.
Yeah, she won remember the intergender, like, tag tournament with The Miz?
Holy shit.
Yeah, Asuka. Yeah, she's
fucking rules, man.
Yeah,
She's done everything. Holy shit.
She formed in my top 5 tag teams of all time. Her and Kairi Sane are there as the Kabuki Warriors because that was literally one of the greatest. I had them as babyface of the week for, I believe, 3 months straight. Every week I was like, did you see the cool shit? Asuka just comes out and yells Japanese, and then they just have Kairi Sane and almost like fucking like...
And then Kairi just plays a flute for no reason behind it.
Yeah, and has an umbrella she like spins and pokes people with. That's it. That's the whole gimmick. Why is it perfect? But Asuka,
amazing.
Yeah, Asuka's great.
Yeah, I mean, she can cross the line even, of being, like, this kick-ass wrestler that you know is going to murder you in the ring, and also
is wearing
that you could really get along with. That's got, like, that's just all smile.
She's wearing a cup noodle costume for some reason.
She's wearing a cup noodle costume. She's playing video games. She's like
she has a channel
it.
for that. You need to understand, this woman has technically been wearing a thong on the outside of her ring gear her entire career, and no one's had the guts to bring it up in a promo.
Yes. Do you want the in women's wrestling, like, essentially the Brock Lesnar in a 5'3" package?
Yeah.
It's Asuka. But also, you could go out and get a drink with her.
Yeah.
And she's not gonna kill you.
She also has the most, like when you read her Wikipedia page of all the things she's done in life, you know, like work for, like in the video game industry.
Yeah.
And like, I think she owns her own, like, business back in Japan. Like, she did all of these things. She has her own YouTube channel that's wildly successful. Like, it's just absurd. Like, she's just...
Wasn't she a figure skater too or something?
Yeah.
Like,
She was she's an amateur figure skater.
That's what I love about Japanese wrestlers is, like, in America, it does have this very, like, this is all I do. I eat, sleep, and I breathe professional wrestling. This is all that I am and all that I do. Then you go to Japan, and it's like Shinsuke, who's like, yeah, I wrestle, and then I kind of just want to go surfing. Or then Asuka, who's like, oh, I also figure skate, and I also make video games, and I also own a business. Or Suzuki, who's like, oh, by the way, my best friend writes One Piece, so we're gonna hang out.
There you go.
I'm in the show.
By the way, it is a hair salon, the business that Asuka owns.
But yeah, that's one of the things. It's like I feel like at this point, because she's really the reason why, like, at least one of the other people on my Mount Rushmore are in WWE. Like, she's the most successful Japanese wrestler to ever be in WWE.
Oh yeah,
And, like, she was the first one. Like, because for the longest time was the thing of like, well, they're just gonna screw it up. And I mean, at this point, they still kind of screwed up Shinsuke. They completely botched Kenta. Like Yoshitatsu back when he was there, like they've got a poor record, but she came in and looked so vicious that they were like, I don't want to tell her she can't. Do you want to? I don't want to tell her.
No, because if you tell her, she'll hurt you.
Wait,
she will.
So you're saying the company that produced the Choppy Choppy Pee Pee segment has a bad history with Japanese pro wrestlers?
Do you remember when the Kabuki Warriors name came out and we all just assumed it was the WWE being racist? And like, I will admit I was wrong. I should not have done that. But there was a lot of history going towards that angle of it. Especially after the submission sorority. I really didn't trust team names for women after that point.
There was a lot of evidence.
Now, hold on. We've already talked about the submission sorority, and that was before that.
Yeah.
We never talked about the fact that the team BAD, like that acronym, was only made up of minorities.
Oh, yeah. What did BAD stand for again?
Beautiful and dangerous.
That fucking sucks.
But it was two black women and a Samoan, and I was like, oh, these are the dangerous ones. Okay,
Yeah, that's gonna play well in the southern.
Worst feud of the year from Wrestling Observer newsletter for 2015: the submission sorority versus Team BAD versus Team Bella.
Oh, I forgot Team Bella was thrown in there too. Ugh. Anyway, we're talking about people we like.
Yeah, Blake,
So
who's next on yours?
Okay, well, obviously Asuka was next on mine.
Okay. Did you got anything else to say that Dylan hasn't?
No, that was pretty much it. Like, we covered just about everything that made Asuka amazing, and we took our time doing it. But I just want to say that, like, I have a very specific memory of before Asuka signed with WWE. I had not seen anything of her in Japan at that point, and just, like, wrestling news and Squared Circle blowing up about, it's like, Kana's coming to WWE. Kana's gonna fucking murder people.
I remember that.
All right. I'm down for this. I mean, yeah, it worked with Devitt. So what do you got? Oh, it's even better than I imagined.
Well, that was during a time.
Better.
That was during a time where it was like every single takeover they brought in someone new. It was like Hideo Itami, then Balor, then KO, then Zayn. It was just like every fucking month a new dude would show up at every single takeover.
Yeah, those were good times, and I think that was a perfect time to introduce the hardcore fans that didn't know about her to Asuka.
Yeah. Well, who else you got, bud? Who's your number I guess we're now on to 3?
Yeah, we're on to 3, and because I know, Scotty, you and I are going to share one later, I'm going to go with my last one, or not my last one, my third one. And that is someone that I really wasn't expecting, but when I went down through, like, who is somebody that I know of, that I've seen some matches, and I remembered that I saw one of her matches live. We all did, as a matter of fact, at Double or Nothing, and somebody who has an amazing storied history as a hoss wrestler in women's wrestling, and that's Aja Kong.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Because, like, I did not know much about her at all going into Double or Nothing, and then I saw her, I knew that obviously, like, everybody was afraid of her as soon as she went in the ring, and that told me something. And just going back and seeing earlier matches, like, she is the person that really made a quintessential, like, Hoss heel. Like, somebody who could utterly destroy you in the ring. And that is something that I think is very valued in Japanese wrestling and used to its best extent. Because I just feel like Japanese wrestling does it better, and Aja Kong does being a Hoss better than anything, because she'll kick your ass, and she'll be super scary while doing it. Like, full on scary. Not like Asuka scary, where it's like, yeah, she could kick my ass, but she's cool. She could kick my ass. This is the same feeling that I get when I see Brock Lesnar at any point in time, walking anywhere within a 100-mile radius of me. That same energy is carried by Aja Kong and her powerful fists.
I'm still upset we never got Nyla versus Aja Kong. That would have been really... Actually, I looked up to see if that ever did happen, and the first thing that came up was Nyla Rose versus Awesome Kong versus Aja Kong, and I went, I don't remember this, and it is just a WWE 2K19 simulation, which made me very mad.
Yeah, they teased...
I mean, to be fair, it can still happen. Aja Kong refuses to retire.
That is true.
Yeah.
And they teased it late in 2019 with Aja Kong versus Awesome Kong, which was looking to be pretty fucking great, but they were never able to do it because pandemic.
And also Awesome Kong just, like...
Oh,
yeah.
Didn't she have an injury?
She just couldn't go. Like, her body was just giving out.
That's fair, because, I mean, she has been in the business for a long time. She has a really storied career. She came in at a Survivor Series. This is one of those that I saw, and she was the sole survivor from her team, and she pinned like 3 or 4 other people to win that match. I was reading
Aja or Awesome Kong?
Oh shit. Now you got me
Which one? Uh-oh. Yeah, it's Aja. It's Aja Kong.
It was Aja. Okay, yeah.
Survivor Series 1995.
95. Yes, because that's when she pinned Alundra Blaze, who was the champion at the time.
Yeah.
Wasn't Alundra feuding with... There was another Japanese wrestler. Oh, God. Had, like, lightning bolt on her face. Like, fucking super...
Oh,
like,
shit. I cannot remember.
I know, right?
I'm thinking Luna Vachon, but she's not Japanese.
No. But you know what I'm trying to...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I cannot remember their name to save my life.
Because that woman is now on the the ladies' professional golf tour. Like, she's a professional women's golfer. Yeah, she lost all the weight. She doesn't look like the same human being.
Pro wrestling.
Oh, God, I know who you're talking about.
I looked up.
Was it Bull Nakano?
Bull Nakano.
Yeah, Bull Nakano.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. But yeah, because she has made a 180 in life, Bull Nakano. Like,
yeah, Bull Nakano came to like a wrestler's retirement ceremony, and she was there, and everybody was like, "Who the is this?" It's like, that's Bull. What? You mean the woman with like the frickin' like 3-foot hair and like the lightning drawn on her face that did a leg drop from the top of a cage?
Yeah.
Japanese wrestling's amazing, by the way, if you don't know that.
Honestly, probably the best of the best women's wrestlers ever. They were probably all Japanese. We just aren't good at Japanese wrestling as good as we should be. But going back to Aja Kong,
are not as
we
good.
are. I meant me and Scotty, Dylan. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to include you in that. But the thing about Aja Kong is that she's got presence, she's got personality, and she's somebody that, where she is, unlike I think some of the other like wrestlers who rely more on their size, she is athletic as fuck. She was in her heyday. You can tell she's slowing down, like Dylan mentioned, but I don't think she's ever gonna stop.
Bull Nakano aged in reverse. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, who have you got up next?
All right, so you guys have the same, which means my last one. Actually, I'll throw in my curveball pick. The one where I was thinking, I was like, who was somebody? I'm gonna nominate Victoria.
Hey, okay.
Because, and I think that the thing that did it the most for me was that it was the first time that like WWE during that era had somebody who was like a strong, like female character, like besides China, like where it was just like, oh, this is a normal woman, except she's crazy, but not in like the ha WWE way, and she has voices, and those voices tell her to murder you.
Yeah,
she came out to I think she originally came out to like an Evanescence song.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, at the very beginning, it was amazing because I remember that I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then they tried to like tone her down by giving her the the dance gimmick, but then she owned that and was still really good. I remember that where like she would like freaking like almost do like a booty shake into a fucking moonsault, a standing moonsault. And then she went to Impact and became like a 5-time champion there. And like, just like she always had presence. She always knew who Victoria was. Like she had a distinct look, a distinct like feel, like anytime she was there. And I don't know, it was something I always respected. Like when she came back for the Rumble, I was like, finally, like this is one of the people where I was like, why isn't she back? She was very good and like very memorable. Yeah. And like I said, I feel it was a part of the shift towards actual wrestling that there was for a while there. Because she was, she had the Widow's Peak, which was like now is Abaddon's move. But like where it was just that like, oh, this is a move that murders people. This is a women's finisher move where she could pick up a guy and it just murders them. They're dead now.
Damn. Well,
especially in that era of wrestling, like you mentioned, Dylan, like having somebody serious who wasn't just eye candy that really could just murder you.
I mean, it was right before the Divas era, so it was like her and Trish and like Lita. Mickey. Yeah, it was that weird high before the low for like a decade before we came up the other end of it.
Yeah, it was before they didn't know what to do with it, before they decided to turn their women's wrestling division into Barbie dolls.
Divas, yes. It was the moment they got rid of the quote-unquote the women's title.
Also, quick, like, I feel like it's just because we don't have enough history with them, but fucking Trish and Lita. They deserve to be on any women's wrestling Mount Rushmore. This is like, these are more personal, I guess, is the reason why they're not on there. But Lita was my number one for a very long time, because I'm just like, oh, a punk rock motherfucker that will just jump off the rope and fall on you and kick your ass and hangs out with Edge, who was my favorite male wrestler at the time. It's like, yeah, that one. That one's the one I like.
And also to Lita's point, too, like, she was cool doing whatever. It didn't matter. She would take any bump.
Oh, yeah. Her and Trish also the first ever women to main event Raw.
Yeah, it was also the thing where, like, nobody tried to, like, granted, eventually there was a booty shaker, but whenever Victoria first showed up, there was no trying to sexualize her gimmick. She was just there and scary. Like, even later on, whenever, like, Beth Phoenix showed up, it was like, it's the Glamazon, and, like, all that thing. It was like, no, Victoria was just there to murder you. That's it. That's it. You're dead.
All right, Blake, you ready to do a little tag team action on my third one, and I guess your fourth one?
Yes,
Man,
because
without context, that sentence does not work.
Yeah, bad phrasing in this episode specifically.
Earlier,
mostly from Scotty.
We talked. Shut the fuck up. Well, earlier we talked about Candice LeRae being one of the biggest names in intergender wrestling, but I would argue Candice is not the queen of intergender wrestling, and also is not the person responsible for, I'd argue, a lot of the other people on our Rushmore's success, because my pick is Sarah Del fucking Rey, who obviously what she's done for WWE's women wrestling cannot be understated. Like, she she's arguably the reason that the women's revolution, or whatever you want to call it, began. Like, they hired her on, and I remember being so excited to see Sarah Del Rey on TV, and they said, oh no, she's a coach. And at first I was upset. I'm like, she's not going to be on TV? Then I realized, oh, wait a minute. That means every single person coming out of the Performance Center now will have Sarah Del Rey's brain as far as, like, approaching matches. And ever since, women's wrestling in WWE has been pretty fucking good.
Her inclusion in the teaching process at WWE, I would akin is as impactful as having Dusty Rhodes when he was still alive teaching their promos.
Well, not only that, I didn't realize this, because for the longest time I thought she was just in charge of, and I think she was when she first just got hired as a female wrestling coach. No, she's now just a full-on assistant head coach for everybody. After she replaced a certain fat motherfucker who bullied everybody named Bill fucking DeMott. And yeah, she works with old Tensai to get everybody out, and the wrestling has gotten
Harry
insane.
Albert.
Yeah. Albert. But going back to her work on the indies, like, I got introduced to it through I used to get real bad, and Blake knows this as well. I used to be really bad about buying wrestling DVDs for one match on the DVD, and that was it. And I bought the Best of Chikara in 2012 because it had Archibald Peck versus Chuck Taylor on it. Turns out 2012 was a fucking killer year for Chikara.
Was that the year with Die Kruger? Or no, the freaking, like, German faction they had that had Cesaro in it?
Oh shit, what was the name? I don't think so. I think that was a little bit earlier.
Cause that was when her and
I think
Daisy
was Tim Donst in that one too.
Yeah, Tim Donst was in it.
There were a lot of people in the BDK. Wasn't it BDK?
Yeah.
Yes, Bruderschaft der Cruces.
Yeah. God,
But,
they had a lot
that was actually...
Holy shit, the list of people in BDK.
Yeah.
Yes, there were a lot. But Sarah Del Rey, like, her in BDK were, that was because she was in it with Cesaro. And I did a deep dive on just old Cesaro Claudio shit a long time ago. And I saw, like, their stuff together in Chikara. And she was just fucking awesome. No, she didn't only keep up, she was setting the pace.
Oh, yeah.
And her and the other person from BDK, the other female member, were the I believe the only all-female tag team.
It was Daisy Hayes.
Daisy Hayes. They were the only all-female tag team to challenge for the Campeones de Parejas, which at that time was the only championship in Chikara.
Oh, yeah.
And
but on that Best of 2012 DVD, you had Sarah versus El Generico. Fucking ruled. It is absolutely amazing. Miko Saramura versus Sarah Del Rey. Eddie fucking Kingston versus Sarah Del Rey. And
does that match end with him doing a back fist to the future into her face?
I think so, because I can't remember if it was Eddie's or Generico's, but one of them I didn't like because it was, oh, that's a girl, I ain't hitting no girl, I'm not gonna do this. And it might have been Generico because he's playing...
That sounds like a Generico thing.
Really? That sounds like a Kingston thing, because it sounds mildly New York misogynistic.
Yeah. But I think that one ruled because Kingston's like, I'm not gonna fight you, and then Sarah just starts beating the shit out of Kingston. He's like, okay, fine, and then just starts wailing on her, and it is absolutely brutal. It's the closest thing to strong style in Chikara.
Yeah, that sounds like that Asuka freaking Minoru Suzuki match where Asuka ran the promotion and just told Minoru Suzuki to murder her, and it's fucking hard to watch.
But it's always something to be respected for somebody who is willing to go through that in professional wrestling. And I think the people that we remember most for doing that deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore And I think that's why we have the likes of Sarah Del Rey, Candice LeRae, Sasha Banks on there. Just all of them. All the horsewomen, too.
I'm sorry, I'm now watching Suzuki beat the shit out of Kana. Oh my Christ. And the Reddit thread just says, Suzuki beats up Asuka so bad that even his own partner attempts to stop it from happening.
There's a reason why
this is brutal. All right, Dylan, do you want to get into your fourth pick?
Yeah, my last pick is I guess at this point she's like the Dark Queen of the Sky, Io Shirai, because Io Shirai was the champion for was it World Wonder of Stardom? I can never say the name of that promotion right, but Stardom.
Okay.
She was the champion for them. She held, it's known as the Red Belt, but like she was the face of that company. Like she carried that company for years, like is the reason why it is as big as it is now. And even though it got bought out like in her absence, like she was the one that got it to prominence. And like whenever she came to WWE, even Meltzer was like, congratulations, you now have the best women's wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
And like when she showed up, she was unfortunately pretty generic. Like they didn't know what to do with her. She didn't have her own identity other than being Kairi Sane's friend. And coming out in those sweet... For some reason, every female wrestler in Japan has like their version of the tiger mask. And she just came out in hers. But then she reinvented herself, and holy shit, there has been no one who has been... Like, it's... I don't want to say it's equal to Bayley, but like considering the fact that she doesn't really do promos, this is solely on a looks, personality, and like body language change. Completely reinvented herself. Like it's if you put footage of the two of them next to each other, be like, oh, that one's the other one's sister. This isn't the same person. Like, and then she just started doing crazy shit. Like every year, doing a moonsault off the top of a fucking War Games cage. Yeah. One time it was with a goddamn trash can because she apparently really likes the great Sasuke and like looked at his old shit of jumping off in a barrel and she was like, what if I did that, but a trash can and off the top of a cage, and also I'm not going to be able to see where I'm going. Sounds great. And she
what
did
if I
it.
jump off this big ass skull Triple H put on the front of the stage?
Yeah.
I mean,
what if
I could just imagine.
Yeah. What if I'm Kota Ibushi but smaller, and I hate my neck less? But
I can just imagine that conversation too with Triple H. It's got to be with Triple H. It's like, I'm gonna jump off the cage. Okay, that's fine. With a trash can.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that last bit real quick? Yeah, a trash
hold on
can.
a second. With a trash can. I'm sorry, I might be a little hard of hearing, taking too many bumps. You said trash can.
Yeah.
Trash can.
On top of me.
Trash can on top. Trash can on top. That's how Io Shirai would do it. Trash can on top. Flip.
Yeah, she is arguably been like the person in NXT since then. Like it's been her and Rhea like for the last like I feel 2 years. Like even when they brought Charlotte back, it's just like, yeah, you're just here. These other two chicks, this is who it's about. And like it's gotten to the point now where it's kind of like when Asuka, it's like, oh, when she leaves now, I don't know who's going to fill that spot because she shows up and you're just like, that woman is 5'2", but she clearly runs this place.
Yeah.
It's like even against like, you know, they have the bigger people like Raquel Gonzalez, where it's just like, yeah, big and strong. It's just like you are. But it's like Shawn in Diesel, where it's just like, no, that smaller one is clearly the boss here.
I know how this works. She's the boss, and she's much more dangerous than you, even though you're a foot taller.
She let you have that belt. That is a gift from Io Shirai.
Yeah. Honestly, probably how it worked backstage.
Well, now on to my final, and I guess this is our final Mount Rushmore pick, because Blake, you've gone through all of yours, right?
Yep.
And shocking fucking nobody on the planet. Of course, I had to go with AJ fucking Lee. who wasn't there for a long time, but God, was it a great time when she was fucking there. Started off as just a nerdy little sidekick to Daniel Bryan, then kind of had a weird love triangle situation, which evolved into a love rhombus at one point, and eventually a love pentagon by the end of the year. But even then, she was entertaining through every single step of the way. Managed
and then she became general manager.
No, wait, hold on. Did you say love Pentagon?
I love Pentagon.
Cero
Miedo, yeah. Was she, or am I misremembering, wasn't she the longest reigning Divas champion at one point? Or
yes.
She was at one point.
No, before they gave it to the Bellas as a fuck you to her. So that
that's right.
Nikki Bella could have it, so that she could be, like, the person.
Yeah. And even, like, she was always phenomenal, always great on the microphone, like, insane. Like, her promo against the Bellas that one time, what was it? Talent is not a sexually transmitted disease, if I remember correctly.
It's a shame that it's a shame like that. Unlike other things, talent is not sexually transmitted. You guys aren't worthy to lace my Converse.
Yes, girl.
Those were her exact words. It was brutal.
Yeah, it was amazing. She was involved in one of my favorite women's segments on WWE of all time, which of course is post WrestleMania 30. Her coming out and something so iconic, it's immortalized in film now. Now, she was played by Thea Trinidad instead of actually an actor that looks like her, but her coming out after WrestleMania 30, scraping by with her belt, and then saying, hey, if you want a shot at my title, come and get it, and then out comes Paige to just kick her ass for it. Iconic moment, one of my favorite women's moments of all time, and yes, obviously Paige did have a part of doing it, but even then, AJ was always so good. And now, even in her post-wrestling career, assuming that she doesn't want to get back into the ring, the stuff she does now for mental health awareness, all of her stuff that she does in Chicago and stuff like that, like, you could tell she's keeping herself busy, and it means a lot to her, and that's what I like.
She also bumped, was it Ashley? The girl that always speared her. Where she sold like a boss every time.
Oh wait, which one? Also, she did write a book, Crazy is My Superpower, that I really do want to read one of these days.
Yeah. And she was, like, as I understand it, the port in the storm for women's wrestling in WWE for a long time.
Without a fucking doubt, my dude. I don't remember an Ashley that would spear. Are you talking about Caitlyn?
Caitlyn, that was it. Yeah, because they were friends, and like whenever Caitlyn retired, she just kind of like pulled her ultimate crazy, where she just kind of like jumped into her arms. I was like, I'm gonna miss you, and Caitlyn was just like, we've been fighting for years. What the fuck? But yeah. I remember you want to talk about fucking Dolph Ziggler bumping. Every Caitlyn spear on AJ Lee is a goddamn masterpiece.
I mean, it seems like during that time you always had like two great opponents, because for Paige she had Emma, for AJ you had Caitlyn, and honestly I think Caitlyn could have made it on this mountain if she had been around a little bit more, but obviously she's now went off, and I think she's got a fitness company now or something like that, which
wildly successful.
Yeah, she's happy as shit, so good for her. But yeah, AJ Lee has to go on my Mount Rushmore.
Fair point. I think we've covered just about it. Yeah.
I mean, there are so many that we left off. As I said years ago at Supercard of Honor 2016, I think. 2017. I don't know anything about women's wrestling.
We are not the people to go to for this, unfortunately, because like Dylan said, there are tons of amazing talent out there that we just haven't seen. Tell us about it on Twitter at Fight Boys Show, who we need to check out next.
I was gonna say, at one point, whenever I would have to defend myself, I was like, you need to understand, I'm trying to pay attention to wrestling in Britain, Japan, here, and sometimes Mexico. And that's just for the dudes. If you want me to start doing women on top of that, I'm gonna need to quit my job.
Are you gonna pay me?
Are you gonna pay me?
Because actually, that would be good.
Dave Meltzer can't even keep up with all this.
Yeah.
It's his job.
Well, next week, before we've got one last episode in our great renewal series before we go to Double or Nothing and have to revert back to being a news show. Which means next week we're finishing off the Pinnacle series, talking about our greatest matches of all time. I think we got our greatest one-on-ones, our greatest 2 out of 3 falls matches. I can't remember all of them, but we're going to be discussing those next week. But until then, what you boys learned this week?
I learned that there are only 3 women in the 4 horsewomen.
Yeah. Who was that blonde one? It was Alexa, right?
It was Alexa Bliss.
No, it was the 3 Bs. It was Becky, Bayley, and Banks.
Yeah. They changed their name.
And Bliss.
Yeah.
Oh, Bliss, that was it.
That was it.
Oh no.
The 4
the
Bs.
Killer Bees.
Yeah.
The Killer Bees. The new stable coming to you live.
I learned that Candice LeRae and Candice LeRae were the greatest PWG tag team champions of all time.
I learned that there's a healthy respect for Joshi among the Fight Boys. And that if you don't respect Joshi, Aja Kong will beat it into you.
Damn right.
She will. That's what happened to me.
All right. Where can people find y'all on the internet?
You can find me at Blake A. Tanner on the Twitter, the Darkroom Vidya on YouTube, and on the Future Best Friends on YouTube as well.
And you can find me on Twitter at ScottyMo, SCOTTYEMO. Check out my other podcasts, from fun fiction to the mini adventures of Sammy Magic to, most importantly, The Weird, an actual play TTRPG podcast that's like Twin Peaks but worse. Fucking X-Files. No, wait. Twin Peaks, but better.
Better, which is a lie.
X-Files, but worse. You've not listened, you son of a bitch. And Gravity Falls, but basically the same. And you can find that at jointheweird.com.
Special thanks to Mega Ran for our theme song, Fighters. Go check out Mega Ran. We will be getting some one-on-one time with Mega Ran in a couple weeks when we go to Double or Nothing. So
it's literally
sucks for you, works for us.
And as always, you can find us at aloadofpurebs.com. Step up to the merch table at merch.aloadofpurebs.com. Find us on Facebook, donate to the Patreon, subscribe on YouTube, and remember to follow us on Twitter at Fight Boy Show, because when you're a fight boy for life.